And we are back, you guys. Welcome to 2025. I'm so excited. I genuinely missed you guys so much. It was weird. Like I say, the show is me talking to my friends on the phone. So basically, I feel like I didn't speak to my friends on the phone for a couple of weeks, and we have so much to cover. I mean, we're obviously not going to get to it all today, but it will be a start. I feel like I went off air for a little over a week, and everyone decided to lose their minds. Elon Musk had a breakdown, really, it's the way that I would describe it, over H-1B visas. We have to speak about that. I'll explain it slowly to you. Also, I got into it with Seth Dillon of the Babylon Bee, the satire site. And there is a backstory there, and I'm going to share that backstory with you because I feel like the public has a right to know, right? I'm just going to spill. We also had a Tesla terror attack outside a Trump hotel. We'll get to that tomorrow. Blake Lively relaunching the Me Too movement. We'll get to that tomorrow as well. Of course, I have an opinion on it. But first, a very unsurprising announcement for my internet sleuths. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Candace. All right, you guys. Yes, you caught me. You got me. I am pregnant again, or still. I feel like these aren't even announcements anymore. This is not even a pregnancy announcement. I feel like it would be an announcement if I said I'm not pregnant. Then you guys would go, oh my gosh, Candace, that's actually some new news. But yes, baby number 4 is on the way. And I can definitely say for those of you that were just sending us messages like, oh, I can tell the baby's on the way. It really was the Piers Morgan appearance that I think I can really blame for setting those rumors aflame. I walked into a studio, by the way, it was my last appearance of the year, and I looked directly at him. Here we are in the middle of London. I said, Piers, I would like to really not announce this pregnancy just yet to the world. So can we just make sure the camera angles aren't showing my little belly? Last appearance 2024. And he was like, yeah, no, we checked the angles, and bam, all of a sudden the show comes out. I don't know if we have a still of that, but people could just see that my belly was a little tubs. And of course, then the comments flew in. This is what I was seeing on my Instagram. Mimi writes, I see a baby bump and pregnancy nose. I don't even know what that is. Do I have a pregnancy nose? Is this a pregnancy nose? It might just be my real nose. She thinks it's a pregnancy nose. I don't know. Here's another person. Cleopatra J writes, I see baby number 4. Congratulations. Okay, Cleopatra, I see you too. Another comment here from SC Fuali writes, Candace, any pregnancy announcements coming yet? Okay, I confess. It's happening. But listen, we don't really know how this one happened. We went to the doctor this time. He legitimately asked us if we knew how babies were made. He's like, do you guys know how babies are made? And I was also mildly concerned on election night when I joined PBD and the gang that it might slip. And I promise you from this photo, an internet user on X wrote and said, I see another little conservative coming, baby number 4 for Candace. I don't know what's wrong with you guys. You have like X-ray vision. You can't hide anything from the internet. I guess it's particularly the people that follow me, obviously, because we are the internet sleuths. We went through the Kamala Chronicles. I don't even know why I thought that I could hide this pregnancy from you. I should have just been forthcoming with it. And I will also let you guys know that it's another baby boy. So I officially will be living in a fraternity. It will be me and my daughter against a lot of young toddler boys who are always team dad. So it's gonna get really fun. But I have to tell you why I waited so long to tell you guys. And it wasn't because it was, particularly new news in this household. Also, I'm Catholic, so I feel like everyone just sort of expects these things. But truly, for the first time ever, I just was not having a good first trimester. I have had very simple pregnancies with no symptoms at all for the last 3 pregnancies. And this one took me out. It was a surprise pregnancy. Like I said, we weren't trying to get pregnant. And then it just felt like the floodgates. Everything that could possibly happen while you're having a terrible first trimester happened for me. I was just like, please, God, just give me one break. And God was like, no, how about YouTube is going to demonetize you? And you just started your new show, but you're going to be demonetized because an account called Awesome Jew on X is going to like lead a revolution and tell people to like fake report you. So we had to deal with that. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a break now. No, Australia's going to ban you. New Zealand is going to ban you from the country. Dennis Prager is going to publish a private email that he sent you. It was just all so shocking. And I just physically could not deal with it. It was just a nonstop flood of hit pieces. Plus, I had a lawsuit that was going on in the background. We had Rabbi Shmuley, who contacted the FBI over a pineapple pizza that got delivered to him. It was just so much. It was so much that was happening. And I always feel like I'm not the person that's allowed to say, I don't feel good. Like, I'm not the person that people expect to say, hey, I need a break. I feel like that's almost what these people want. They want to know that they can break you. And if I had used the pregnancy excuse, so to speak, or if I had said, really, I just can't deal with this and my family's going through a lot right now, I just felt like people would have loved that, because that's what it's all about. That is why they are writing these hit pieces. It's why they're trying to figure out what your actual breaking point is. And it was a lot. I'm not going to lie. It was a lot. Like I said, every time we thought, okay, this has to be it. There's nothing else that 2024 could possibly throw at us. We were surprised. We spoke too soon and something else was around the corner. But you know what? We got through it. And I'm ashamed to say that truly I was overwhelmed when I found out. This time I was like, there's just so much going on. But as always, of course, now that I'm past that and I'm feeling so much better, what a tremendous blessing. Always a tremendous blessing. And also want to acknowledge so many of my friends right now and people that I know that are going through trying to have children, and fertility has been a struggle for so many families. And I know when you are going through something, if you're having back-to-back miscarriages or you have been trying to get pregnant for years, when you see these happy announcements, it's so hard not to feel like, oh, why isn't it me this time? So many women have been there and thought, oh, why isn't it me this time? It seems like everyone's getting pregnant around me. I want to start a family. God will bless you when it is the right time, and don't let these pregnancy announcements get you down. I wanted to just say that because, like I said, I personally know so many people going into this year who are just hoping to start a family, and it's such a beautiful thing. It's that people even want to start families. And so I wanted to just give you guys that news, and that news is really great for my fans, because you know that what it really means is that Savage Candace is back. Here it is on Rewind for you guys. Hello.
What do you have to say to the trans students on this campus who actively feel victimized by your presence here today?
Life's tough. Get a helmet, man. I'm too pregnant for this. Next question. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am officially too pregnant for this. So some of you guys might have been noticing that I have been a little mouthy, I would say, on X. And this is why. It is something about, it's just me, my body. I know tons of other women who can relate. When I am pregnant with a boy, I just get a little aggressive towards the end. I don't know what it is. It could just be like the testosterone inside of the baby, but I am just ready to do battle. I'm ready to do hood rat stuff with my friends. And if you are my friend out there, it is time for us to do hood rat stuff and to call people out. And so I am going to start that process immediately and explain to you why a joke on the Babylon Bee actually set me off. Before we get to that, I want to throw it to one of our sponsors, Good Ranchers. You guys know I love them. They're sponsoring this episode. When you buy meat from Good Ranchers, you are directly supporting local farms and ranchers in the United States, and you get to skip the chaos of imported meat in the grocery store. Good Ranchers delivers high quality, 100% American meat straight to your door, so you can start 2025 with better choices, better meals, and better moments at home. Right now, if you visit goodranchers.com and use my code Candace to claim $25 off, you will get free express shipping and your choice of free ground beef, chicken, or salmon in every order for an entire year. So if spending more time with family, spending less money on going out to eat, and enjoying quality, nutritious American food is on your resolution this year, then be sure to visit goodranchers.com and use my code Candace today for meat that delivers just that. Goodranchers.com, American meat delivered. Okay, before we get to the Babylon Bee, let's start with Elon Musk, because wow. I was so upset that I was not on air as all of this was happening, but it's still happening. This has just been a huge debate. People are wondering whether or not Elon Musk is going crazy, whether or not we've ceded too much power to him, or if he's too close to Trump. So let me actually give you guys just explain to the entire world what's going on, because it may not be clear. Typically, most Americans are not even familiar with the various visa programs that we have, because why would you be unless you're married to a foreign national, or you have gone through it yourself, or maybe you're employing people. This is not something that most people are well read up on, but especially people overseas. Okay, so what's really funny about this topic is on that, when I sat down with Piers Morgan in December, he and we didn't get into a debate, really. He just sort of cut me off, and I was trying to basically say to him, I don't think Elon Musk is a superhero. Right now, he's at the top of his game. Everybody loves him. Everybody's been worshiping him before this H-1B visa broke out. And I always felt a little bit of pause. So I'm just going to show you just a quick snippet of me and Piers Morgan discussing Elon Musk. I wonder if we're attributing too much superheroism to Elon Musk because he did this amazing thing, having
Here's the thing. I think
freed the bird.
I think he actually might be a superhero.
Of launched into this diatribe about why he thought he was a superhero, and I was trying to push back, and he sort of cut me off. And now we have been able to speak about that more at length, which on his show, which I think is coming out tonight because I did another little visit. But what I was going to say, and I'm hopeful that people can hear this in the right way, was that in many ways we partook in celebrity culture, this thing that we hate the most when people just go, well, I love Taylor Swift's music. She makes amazing music. I've followed her career, and so I'm going to take her advice on who to vote for. I feel like conservatives kind of partook in that culture when it came to Elon Musk. And what I was going to say is we don't really know what Elon Musk believes. We don't know that. We know that he's extraordinarily wealthy. We know that he did this wonderful thing by, quote unquote, freeing the bird, which may be going back into its cage soon. But we have never seen somebody sit down and actually get to what his end game is. And I just had a little bit of reservation about Elon Musk because I'm a Christian, and everything that he advocates for to me looks like he's a part of the transhumanist agenda. He wants chips in people's brains. He wants to be able to go to Mars. What do we conserve when we say we're conservatives? I would say at its core, we're conserving Christian family values, and nuclear family is what's at its core. I think Elon Musk has 12 children by like 5 different baby mamas, some via IVF. I don't know, but none of that screams Christianity to me. None of that screams conservative values to me. And the problem that we have with Elon Musk is that he gets 2 types of interviews. He either is sitting down with someone who is intentionally baiting him and absolutely hates him. And this is, by the way, the same predicament with Trump, who absolutely hates him, like Don Lemon when he sat down with Elon. Or he's sitting down with people that are just fawning over him and treating him like he's a superhero. And I want someone to actually sit down and flesh out Elon Musk's ideas. What is his end goal? And so I had said to Piers Morgan in that clip, I know what Vivek Ramaswamy thinks because he had to go through that process, that ideological process, when he was appearing in front of voters, and he had to speak to people in Middle America, and they got to question about his faith, about his Hindu values, about whether or not that conflicts with Christianity. But Elon Musk hasn't yet gone through that. He's just unbelievably wealthy, and people like wealth, and so they're happy about what he did with X, and they're willing to just say, okay, you can be in our government. So I'm not even kidding when I say that days after this exchange between me and Piers, suddenly we were learning a lot more about Elon Musk. And we were able to learn this via this weeks-long debate that broke out over H-1B visas, okay? Now, in case you are not familiar with what an H-1B visa is, I'm going to explain it to you. It's essentially a foreign workers visa. Legislation was passed in 1990 to permit foreigners to work in the United States. And at that time, we were told by politicians that it was reserved to source foreigners who were in the top 1% of talent globally. Okay, that was a sales pitch. These people are so talented that we want them on our side, okay? Because we got to go up against China, and so we need this guy here. He's in the top 1% of talent globally. And of course, when it comes to politics, the sales pitch is never what you get, right? It's never what you get. And that is not what has happened since at all. Instead, they're using the H-1B visa program to source cashiers, teachers, janitors, publicists. So you're going to tell me that no Americans want these jobs? This entire issue is what I would refer to as a MAGA 101 issue. It's been going on for a very long time. Essentially, people saying we need to stop the abuses, not just of illegal immigration, but also of legal immigration programs like the H-1B one, because obviously it disadvantages Americans who want and need those jobs, okay? So if you're coming up and you do your 4-year degree and you spend $100,000 on student loans, and then you're like, great, I'm gonna go into PR, and you find out that actually Jenny has your job from the UK, and you're going, why was she given this job? And the answer is because it drives wages down, because those foreigners will do the jobs for cheaper because it's a pathway to citizenship, right? So if you are coming from India and it's like, hey, you're going to make less money, but you're going to be in America, and in 2 years, which is how this works, in 2 years, you can apply for permanent residency. You can apply for a green card after 2 years of being in this program. And so the last estimate, which was done in 2019, was that 600,000 people in America, that there were 600,000 people that were there on an H-1B1 visa. That program can last for up to 10 years if you go to work for the Department of Defense. So, and why? Why do we have this many people that are stealing American jobs? Like I said, it is untrue that these are just being given to people who have extraordinary talent and are from the top 1% of the pool. So this debate was reopened with a tweet from Vivek Ramaswamy, who you guys know that I like very much. And I'm just going to read some of it because it's very long. Here's what he started to say. The reason top tech companies often hire foreign-born and first-generation engineers over Native Americans isn't because of an innate American IQ deficit, a lazy and wrong explanation. A key part of it comes down to the C word, culture. Tough questions demand tough answers, and if we're really serious about fixing the problem, we have to confront the truth. Our American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence for way too long, at least since the 90s and likely longer. That doesn't start in college, it starts young. A culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ or the jock over the valedictorian will not produce the best engineer. So it goes on and on. He's explaining about the breakdown of American culture, which kind of leads to this inevitability. And he faced immediate backlash, but immediate support from Elon Musk, who kind of just was being rude about Americans. Like the reason for that, by the way, is because he came into this country on an H-1B visa, but he apparently doesn't know a lot about the program other than that he is here and he wouldn't be allowed to be here and he wouldn't be allowed to hire people who he clearly hires that are under this visa program. And so here's just one thing that he said, a couple of things that he said. The reason I'm in America, along with so many critical people who built SpaceX, Tesla, and hundreds of other companies that made America strong, is because of H-1B. Take a big step back and F yourself in the face. I will go to war on this issue, the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend. Okay. All right. So he was getting angrier and angrier. He was removing people's check marks. A bunch of accounts got banned because like I said, he was trending for weeks. Really, he's been trending since this discussion broke out about people saying, like, how dare you? Like, you come into this country and you're basically denigrating Americans by saying, like, you're not good enough to take these positions, and we feel that we are. Here's what he also said, which was really what sent people over the edge. He was responding to someone who said, are people really dumb enough to think that they can convince Elon Musk, an immigrant to the United States who has generated untold wealth and national security advantage for our economy and nation out of thin air, that high-skilled immigration is bad for Americans? Like, seriously? Again, that person's question is ridiculous because it's not high-skilled immigration that is happening under this program. Anyways, Elon Musk responds to that and he says, my tolerance for subtards is limited. So now he's doing the sort of leftist game of ad hominem attacks, like we're too stupid, we're mediocre, you guys don't understand. And really what's happening here is, and what I fear with many people, is once you have access to the kind of wealth that Elon Musk has, once you become the richest man in the world, you never really have to listen to anybody tell you no. You just can be right about everything. You can put yourself in a room with a bunch of yes men who are constantly going to tell you yes. It's very hard for people in that environment to be humble, right? To humble themselves and say, okay, what am I missing here? Because I don't think that all of these people are angry because they don't want immigrants in this country. Let me actually try to learn something. It's hard to teach someone that believes that they know everything. And I feel that Steve Bannon said it in such a strong way on his show. Obviously, he is using the same kind of language that Elon Musk is saying, but what he says here is important. Take a listen.
I've said many times that Elon came and Elon's money helped organize the grassroots effort. In his engineering mind, he saw what the problem was as we saw it, and he supported it. And for that, he gets a place at the table. There's no doubt. You should. They're recent converts, and we love converts. Hell, I'm a Catholic. We used to be in the convert business. Not so much anymore. We can't keep what we got. But in the old days, you know, half the saints are missionaries. We love in converts. But the converts sit in the back and study for years and years and years to make sure you understand the faith and you understand the nuances of the faith and understand how you can internalize the faith. Don't come up and go to the pulpit in your first week here and start lecturing people about the way things are going to be. If you're going to do that, we're going to rip your face off.
We're just going to rip your face off. I guess we're going into this. Everyone's got a lot of things to do with faces. Elon Musk, obviously, whatever, your own face. The point of the matter is that Steve Bannon is essentially saying, like, you're here, you have a seat on the table by the virtue of just being Elon Musk. So why not try to learn about the concerns of MAGA, because the people have been here. The American people have been here and have had these concerns long before you entered into this American first movement at all. And I think that that is fair. And I think it's also making some strange bedfellows, by the way, because Bernie Sanders apparently has been on this issue for 17 years. He has been saying that the H-1B program has been abused. And this is a clip that's dating back all the way from when George Bush was president. Now, to be clear, this clip of Bernie Sanders, which the noise is not great on this, so if you're just on audio, you're just going to have to bear with it a bit. But this clip dates back to him joining Lou Dobbs, the late Lou Dobbs of Fox News, and they're talking about amnesty. So he's basically saying that the government has sold us out to billionaires, and that the person who was pushing for unlimited legal migration at this time and still is Bill Gates of Microsoft, formerly of Microsoft. And he's saying that it's because they've done these deals, they want cheap labor. And so one way is through illegal immigration and then giving everybody amnesty, which is what they're talking about. But then he also particularly calls out the H-1B visa program. Take a listen to Bernie Sanders 17 years ago.
When the middle class in this country continues to shrink despite a huge increase in worker productivity, poverty continues to increase. Since Bush has been president, 5 million more Americans have slipped into poverty. 6 million Americans more have lost their health insurance, and the gap between the rich and everybody else is growing wider. So when President Bush tells you how great the economy is doing, what he is really saying is that the CEOs of large multinationals are doing very, very well. He's kind of ignoring the economic reality of everybody else. And that gets us to the immigration issue. If poverty is increasing and if wages are going down, I don't know why we need millions of people to be coming into this country as guest workers who will work for lower wages than American workers and drive wages down even lower than they are right now.
And as we know, the principal industries which hire the bulk of illegal aliens, that is construction, landscaping,
Lou, I just heard something.
Those are all industries in which wages are declining. I don't hear that discussed on the Senate floor by the proponents of this amnesty legislation.
That's right. They have no good response. I just read something today that a lot of people coming into this country are coming in as lifeguards. I guess we can't find, that's right, we can't find American workers to work as lifeguards, and the H-1B program has teachers, elementary school teachers.
Right.
Well,
Yeah, and that H-1B program, we got to watch Senator Ted Kennedy sit there with the sole witness being one Bill Gates, the world's richest man, tell him he wanted unlimited H-1B visas, obviously uninformed as to the fact that 7 out of 10 visas under the H-1B program go to Indian corporations that are outsourcing those positions to American corporations in this country, and that 4 out of 5 of those jobs that are supposed to be high-skilled jobs are actually Category 1 jobs, which is low-skilled.
So there you have it. I think it's really important to understand that issue entirely to see what people are actually debating. And it certainly isn't race, as some people have suggested. Well, people are just racist. We're so back in 2015 with people just not understanding that the American workers are being disadvantaged from programs like this. And far be it from me to suggest that Elon Musk should step maybe outside of Mar-a-Lago and go speak to people that are impacted by this. And I want to be clear, I think it's unfair to even conflate what Vivek was saying with what Elon Musk is saying. Elon Musk is not saying the same thing as Vivek. Vivek is saying, let's keep this program and clean it up. He definitely was not saying we should have unlimited immigration. I don't think he was, at least, but very much Elon Musk is advocating for the same thing that Bill Gates is advocating for. And so it's interesting to hear Bernie Sanders say that this has always been a billionaire perspective because they want cheap labor. And now we have to begin asking, what is Elon Musk's endgame? But I will definitely be keeping you guys abreast on that issue. First, going to throw it to an ad before I give you the Babylon tea. I want to talk to you guys about PDS debt. We're all looking for a fresh start this time of year, from eating better to losing weight to reading more. Now is the perfect time to give your finances a huge fresh start by making this the year to get out of debt. The first step is to contact PDS Debt for a personalized debt solution. If you're making payments every month on your debt and your balances aren't going down, PDS Debt has solutions for you. Everyone with $10,000 or more in eligible debt qualifies, and there is no minimum credit score required. Bad and fair credit is accepted. Save more while paying off your debt in a fraction of the time. PDS Debt can offer personalized advice based on your unique financial circumstances. They consider your income, expenses, and the type of debt that you have to create a customized strategy that works for you. So make this year the year that you take control of your debt. Get a free debt analysis right now at pdsdebt.com/Candace. It only takes 30 seconds. Again, that is pdsdebt.com/Candace. pdsdebt.com/Candace. All right, me versus Seth Dillon. Speaking of Elon Musk, it's an appropriate way to get into this next topic, actually, because the backstory of the Babylon Bee, the satire site, I'm now doing satire in quotation marks, is that Seth Dillon, who was running the Babylon Bee, purchased the Babylon Bee, posted a joke about transgenderism. I think he called maybe Rachel Levine like the man of the year or something. And back when Jack Dorsey was in control of X, this resulted in him getting kicked off or locked out. I'm not sure really what the story was there. And that was the moment that Elon Musk said, I don't want to live in a world that we can't tell jokes of the Babylon Bee. He got in touch with Seth Dillon. The next thing we knew, Elon Musk was buying the Babylon Bee. And yeah, so that's kind of a little bit of, and I'll be clear here. And since then, obviously, the Babylon Bee writes a lot of articles about Elon Musk, and all of them are jokes, but they're all favorable to Elon Musk for the obvious reason that they adore him for what he did for them and for free speech, really helping to put the Babylon Bee satire site on the map. I'm just showing you some of the coverage of Elon Musk over the past couple of years that this has happened. This is definitively not all of it, but you can see these jokes are super friendly. Elon Musk getting ready to haul 3 wells to White House door so he can knock and say, well, well, well. Not particularly funny, but there you go. Elon Musk buys the United Kingdom to establish free speech there. Elon Musk falls into crippling poverty after single meal at Five Guys. Elon Musk offers Mark Zuckerberg $1 billion if he changes the name of Facebook to Facebook. So it's all of this like, we love Elon Musk and we're always going to tell jokes that are in his favor, because you can tell jokes that are in someone's favor, or you can be on the bad side of a joke where someone's making fun of you. And we know this because of Saturday Night Live, right? Saturday Night Live was masquerading itself as satire and humor, but in reality, we were seeing that they very much hated Trump. They hated Trump supporters. Alec Baldwin wasn't doing the Trump shtick because he was trying to be funny. He was doing it because buried underneath it all was a very angry man who would eventually shoot someone and kill someone. And we'd seen Alex, he just was basically using this character to vent his hatred for Donald Trump. And that's really what SNL became, just like mocking all Americans between New York and LA, the flyover states. And so we said, we don't really find your jokes very funny, and we want to get out of this. And the reason why I want to talk about this topic is because typically in the conservative movement, when issues flare up, there is the public perception of these issues, and then there's what happens behind the scenes. And I'm a person that I wish I could just tell you everything that happens behind the scenes. Maybe because I'm always pregnant and I just don't like contracts. I don't like NDAs. I don't like the public not knowing what's happening. I think it's all cheap and stupid, and it undermines public trust. And the public is not stupid. And so it's amazing that I don't have an NDA with the Babylon Bee, and I can actually just give you guys the background of this. So on the surface, the Babylon Bee tried to portray it as though I got angry because they told a quote unquote joke about me. Okay. So this was the joke that they ran during Christmas week or day before Christmas, whatever it was, on the Babylon Bee website. Candace Owens horrified to learn that Christmas was started by the birth of a Jew. Objectively, to me, not a funny joke. Kind of like I objectively didn't find Dave, I'm blanking on his last name. I should not be, because he's the biggest comedian. Dave Chappelle's joke about me funny because it was coming from a place of anger about George Floyd. But whatever, if you are going to put together jokes, and far be it from me to suggest that someone should be taken off air, or I don't believe any of that stuff. I just sometimes don't find jokes to be funny when they're rooted in places of anger. And the fans reacted to this. This was initially posted on Instagram. If you go into the comment section, it's like, 70% pro Candace, 30% pro Babylon Bee, and then people just yelling at people saying that you're in a Candace cult. And no, it's because, again, the public isn't stupid and they're recognizing this sort of theme with the Babylon Bee. It's like the Zionist bee. It's like the, Babylonian Talmudic bee is what it's really become. It's just very obvious that they are worshiping Israel and that they base their jokes on people who don't worship Israel and Bibi Netanyahu. And people have started to notice that thread. Now, want to just really show you what the Babylon Bee's coverage, before I give you this backstory of what really happened here, what the Babylon Bee's coverage was of me before I left the Daily Wire. They were just like Elon Musk coverage. There wasn't many articles. There was maybe 3 or 4, but here's the headlines back when the Babylon Bee liked me. The Daily Wire quietly cancels their upcoming Little Mermaid remake starring Candace Owens, okay? Pelosi preemptively announces articles of impeachment against Candace Owens. Facebook claims party celebrating Candace Owens' suspension was an honest mistake. Again, jokes were all in my favor. I leave the Daily Wire and they completely flip on me, and the jokes are just pretty blatantly obvious that they don't like me. So here are some of the jokes. It was the Jews, screams Candace Owens on the first round of Clue. Here's the next one. Kanye West starting to think Candace Owens might be a little crazy. And by the way, going back to, if you want to go to the "it was the Jews" joke back, if you want to pull that back up again, just look at the timing of these jokes, like August 25th, show the other one. This is July 11th. And the third one that they made about me here, Candace Owens horrified to learn that Christmas was started by the birth of a Jew. Okay, so you can kind of see like the show's just coming back and we're getting in the groove of things, and they start ramping up the jokes against me. Now, Seth Dillon then posted this I responded and was like, okay, like this is pretty obviously not a joke. And he posted this onto Twitter. Yes, the joke is that Candace is obsessed with Jews. It's funny because it's true. It's been true for a long time. Apparently, it's only been true since July of this year when I left Daily Wire. It would be strange if we never joked about it. Then she proved it was true by getting mad and saying that we attack Christians and never make fun of Jews because we have a secret agenda that she wants to expose. Conspiratorial nonsense that made the whole thing funnier. Behind it all is our personal relationship, which has always been cordial and mutually respectful. But I don't let my personal relationships interfere with our work. Our writer's job is to mock things, just as hers is to attack ideas and narratives that she finds objectionable. She offends a lot of people, including her friends. I know she's lost many because of it, and so have we. Truth-telling does that. It isn't a nefarious plot, though, at least not from our end, and I don't claim to know anyone else's motives. What we don't do is invite people offended by our jokes to lecture us about why this one didn't count as valid satire. That is silly, self-serious, and not productive. No humorist has an interest in dissecting his jokes like that. Introspection could be productive, though, and that's what biting satire aims to spark. Okay, cool. So we both agree that honesty is what we are in the business of. And so I think it's time for me to get a little honest about the Babylon Bee, so it further contextualizes that relationship that he says that we have behind the scenes, which he makes it sound like it's just a loose relationship. So the Babylon Bee, before Elon got involved in it, obviously they started getting a lot of hits. I think really not because the jokes are entirely the funniest things I've ever read, but because we were just all kind of starved for people to stop making jokes about MAGA, to stop making jokes about conservatives, to stop making jokes about the flyover country. In pops Babylon Bee, they're making fun of leftists, and the leftists are getting super angry about it. And we were just like, great, finally, we have something that flows in the other direction. It's not the Onion, it's the Babylon Bee, and we all were very supportive of them. At the same time that this was happening, I had a real relationship with Babylon Bee, not a light relationship with him. I mean, with Seth Dillon, not a light relationship with him. My husband was involved with him. In business, and he came to my house, just absolutely always saying, Seth, whatever it is that you need help with, we want to help you. Like, we are so happy that you are here and that you exist. So one day I get a phone call from Seth Dillon, and he tells me a horrific story. Truly what happened to him was horrific. This was a couple of years ago. And essentially a mutual colleague, is what I will refer to this person as, was pretending to be Seth Dillon's friend, saying that they wanted to collaborate and do business with Seth Dillon, inviting Seth Dillon for meetings, like, oh, we're all friends in the conservative movement, whatever. And Seth Dillon went for a meeting with these, what he thought were friends, and they wanted to buy his business. They wanted to literally buy the Babylon Bee. And Seth Dillon said, no, actually, I kind of want to hold on to Babylon Bee. Cool. Awesome. Seth Dillon leaves the meeting with these friends of his, and By the time he like gets into his car to drive down the street, these friends then sent offers to all of his employees, offering them double, triple the salary that Seth Dillon was paying them, essentially staging a hostile takeover of the Babylon Bee, saying, we will pay you more, just come do what you're doing here at our company and forget about Seth Dillon. And some of his employees took the offer, actually. I think at least 3 of the employees took the offer, and Seth Dillon was reeling from this. He was absolutely reeling from this. And when he called me and he told me, because I can be pretty righteous about things like this, I was morally outraged. Not only that, the people that did this then sent him basically a message, a text message that I have that was one of the nastiest things I've ever read in politics. I mean, these are people that present themselves as the good guys, right? This is the stuff that you guys don't know that goes on behind the scenes. Like people that present themselves as moral good guys and, you know, whatever it is, doing these sorts of things within the conservative movement. And that text message was essentially, look, we're the big guys. You're a little guy. We can do whatever we want. Maybe one day you'll be big, but we're big and we can just simply afford to do these things. Essentially, F you. This is what we're doing. We're taking over your company. And Seth Dillon was basically going through a personal crisis because of this. And so I put my name and my reputation on the line. I told him I would not stand for this. I knew this company very well, and I took it all the way up. You know what I mean? I actually contacted the person that was behind this and said, this is absolutely despicable. What you are doing is morally outrageous. How do you look yourself in the mirror? Reading this message, you sound like a psychopath. Just putting this in writing is even more something that you would ever, if this ever leaked to the public, your entire company would be over, is what I said. And essentially, how could you do this to Seth Dillon? Like, he's such a good person. Why would you do this to someone who essentially just makes jokes on the internet? And so I also said that in any capacity that I worked with this company, I would have nothing to do with the employees that were hired under these circumstances. And I let Seth know, me and my husband, we have your back 100% because right is right and wrong is wrong. Okay. Again, personal crisis that he went through, thought his entire company was going to be over. And then guess what happens? Well, Elon Musk says, randomly tweets and wants to rescue the Babylon Bee. And suddenly those people in the conservative movement said, oh, we better make amends with Seth Dillon. We better cut this guy a check and do a deal with him because we don't want to have beef because now he is friends with the most powerful person in the world, Elon Musk, okay? And so Seth Dillon forgave the situation, pretends it was from his heart. I think it was actually because that's how money is. Doesn't matter. It wasn't my business. I just wanted to interject because what was happening to Seth Dillon at that time was wrong. Okay. So you fast forward to now my family having the most difficult year, the most difficult time, and us feeling that we were backstabbed by friends. I lose my job at the Daily Wire. And then Andrew Klavan makes a video over Christ is King. And I look onto my Twitter feed and Seth Dillon, you know, this guy that I went on a limb for, is just instantly jumping in over the Christ is King thing, is anti-Semitic, spinning it as anti-Semitism, piling on, essentially, messaging me, asking me, you know, well, you should say this about grapers. Like the last thing I am thinking about after having all of this happen is what else I can do for Seth Dillon, because he's getting, after he's saying whatever about Christ is King, random frog accounts are saying awful things to him about the fact that he's Jewish. Seth Dillon, by the way, if you don't know, he is of Ashkenazi Jewish descent. And so he's getting his feelings hurt by some random frog accounts. My whole life is in a spiral, but he wants me to take this time to say something against these random graper accounts. And it was just at that time that I realized this is not really a good person. This is just a person who essentially is using me to fight his battles, and I declined to do it. I'm not going to make a tweet against random frog accounts because you want me to do it when my family is in a time of turmoil. And then the jokes started. The jokes against Candace started, and they have not stopped since. And when Seth says that he doesn't make jokes out of anger, or it's not out of, you know, it's all about satire and being friendly, it's not propaganda, he is lying to you. Because on that day when he was asking me to make these jokes about, or to make a statement or to attack grapers on his behalf, whatever it was, to clarify that I'm not aligned with grapers on Christ is King, he got so angry with those graper accounts that he decided to post a joke or repost a joke that had been from years ago on the Babylon Bee website. I was texting with him when he posted this. It was literally because he was mad at perceived white supremacists on the internet, anonymous troll accounts, Groyper accounts, that he posted this joke. And it's this one. The white race must maintain our genetic purity, says inbred man. That came from Seth. He posted that because he was angry. So it's not a joke, okay? The Babylon Bee is not posting stuff because they find this stuff to be funny. They're posting this stuff because, as he says, he finds this stuff to be true. They're posting this stuff out of some perceived anger at the person that they're targeting. In some circumstances, not all. I'm sure sometimes they're really just being funny when they're making a Nancy Pelosi joke. But in other times, and typically when it does have to do with races, white people, Jewish people, it's very clear from posting that joke when he got angry that Seth Dillon views himself to be racially Jewish, right? Because you're posting something against white people because you're mad at white people and because you feel that they're saying things that are against Jews. So that is the truth. The Babylon Bee is run by someone who views himself to be racially Jewish, which is why he is angry with me for not serving the state of Israel, which I refuse to do. And what made this last one especially egregious and why I said something, aside from the fact that I'm pregnant with a guy, with a little boy, is because 3 days prior to him posting that joke, and I knew they were going to post something because the USS Liberty episode went up against Israel, so that's what they got to do. They got to propagandize and Zionize, whatever it is. Seth Dillon had messaged me and said, hey, I watched the clip, I watched the interview between you and George on your show, and I wanted to essentially say, grateful, whatever it was. He said it was a really nice message, essentially what felt like calling for a truce. And I said to him, obviously we've seen all your jokes. It was hurtful that you would do this when my family was going through so much this year. I shared with him that we had a very difficult first trimester. So we then had to deal with our friends writing satire about us, which was obviously just pro-Israel propaganda and anger. And that it just sucked given everything that I had done and put myself on a limb for him when his family was under attack, that genuinely I would have had just appreciated. I wasn't asking for him to defend me. I never asked for anyone to defend me. But shutting up would have been nice. Like his silence would have been appreciated when I was going through everything I went through this year, and he couldn't even award me that. There was nothing that he could give back, nothing other than she's definitely obsessed with Jews. Not they're obsessed with her. He's never run any jokes about Rabbi Shmuley. He never ran any jokes about the awesome Jew account that, led everything that happened with us losing our YouTube monetization. Rabbi Shmuley for 2 years. Obsessing over me and saying, we're going to get you fired, we're going to do this. None of that was funny for the Babylon Bee. None of that seemed as obsessive to the Babylon Bee. And so I tweeted this to Seth Dillon, actually sent this to him in a message regarding his insinuation that I'm obsessed with the Jews rather than just defending myself. And I'm never going to stop defending myself and defending my name. I wrote this text message. I said to Seth, did you think I was obsessed with Black people when I made an entire documentary on the corruption of BLM, plus did about 1,000 media hits discussing their toxicity and about 500 college campus visits discussing their violence and Marxist ideology? Because Babylon Bee was supportive of me then. The jokes were in my favor. I'm just wondering why that didn't register to you as an obsession with Black people, given it lasted for about 4 years. And BLM didn't murder 18,000 kids, but they were violent and indeed did billions of dollars in damage. It's almost as if you're just a massive hypocrite who thinks Israel can't be critiqued because Jews live there, just like Al Sharpton doesn't believe that Black people can be critiqued without spurious claims of racism. This is why I see you as a fraud. If the Bee had called me all of those names during BLM, I might think you were consistent and therefore truly just being funny. But your reaction to one rather than the other is actually just Jewish supremacy. I don't tolerate racial supremacy from any group. So that's it. I mean, obviously, like I said, it wasn't much for, it didn't take my audience much to really recognize what was happening with the Babylonian Talmudic Bee, and they are starting to get that feedback and they deserve it. But I wanted to let you know where my upset came from, because them trying to frame it to the public like she just can't take a joke is just absolute crap. It's the gaslighting. It's the stuff that Sigmund Freud's method of psychology is born of, constantly attacking someone and then going, what, you just can't take a joke. And I can't think of anything cheaper than pretending that it's a joke, like Saturday Night Live pretending that it was a joke for years as you just focused on one part of the population because you hated us. That's it. You just simply hated Trump supporters, and that's fine. that's fine. But at least have the courage, have the moral courage to admit that you are doing this because you have interests. You have interests just like the Jerusalem Post has interests, just like, PragerU has interests, except they at least have the courage to admit what those interests are. You're pro-Israel, okay? You see yourself racially as a Jew. It's why you post anti-white jokes when you get angry. And all that's fine, but stop hiding behind satire. That said, you guys, I got to absolutely just a couple of things I want to mention here, because I know that we're running up against time and it's already 44 minutes. First and foremost, the Rabbi Shmuley lawsuit, Fontainebleau Hotel. Please find that in your spare time. You're going to crack up. Essentially, he got into a fight with somebody at the Fontainebleau Hotel and then threatened the hotel. He started making allegedly using AI created videos to criticize the hotel because a guest and him got into a spat. He basically wanted them to cut him a $1 million check because the guest yelled at him. He compared the Fontainebleau Hotel to Nazi collaborators as he attempted what the owners are saying is a shakedown. Poor Rabbi Shmuley didn't realize that the owners of the Fontainebleau Hotel are Jewish. So everything he said to me, he was doing to the Fontainebleau Hotel, calling them Nazi collaborators, anti-Semitic online, using AI videos to attack them, trying to get $1 million check in this quote-unquote shakedown, at least according to the lawsuit. And it turns out that they are extremely Jewish, as in involved in the Jewish community, and they are not taking it. They are straight up suing Rabbi Shmuley, and I hope that family wins. Seriously, bless you. I don't have the family's last name. I forgot to write this down, but whatever family this is that owns the Fontainebleau, you are on my hero list this year. I will be following this lawsuit. It is amazing. This is what he does. He smears, he libels, and finally, he just gets caught here in a situation where he's not going to be able to prove that this extremely Jewish family is anti-Semitic and a Nazi collaborator and do these sorts of things. They will have the money to be able to fight him and go through this entire process. But you have to read the lawsuit, because then at one point when the manager of the hotel was just trying to be like, hey, like, we are sorry that this happened to you, as he's calling them all sorts of names, he apparently, Rabbi Shmuley, accepted a free dinner at the hotel and then moved on. So he just wanted something for free. And obviously the Fontainebleau is saying that they will not cower to his extortion attempts. They are defending themselves, as they have a right to do, as everyone has a right to do when they are being intentionally libeled and smeared and lied about. And nobody does that sort of stuff better or more persistently and disgustingly than Rabbi Shmuley. So kudos to the Fontainebleau Hotel. If I come to Miami, I am definitely staying there. All right, guys, we are literally out of time. So there is nothing else that I can even cover today, which is crazy. It's already been 47 minutes, and there's so much more that I want to talk about. I want to get into Brett Cooper's new show is going to be premiering later this week, which I'm pretty excited about. We'll get to that tomorrow. I'll give you guys my take, as I said, on the Blake Lively basically unearthing the Me Too movement. It's back from the dead. People are losing awards on the basis of allegations. And you guys know I will definitely have an opinion on that, but we are going to have to wait. Oh, God. Even the terror attack, I haven't even gotten to that. It's been 47 minutes, but we're all going to have to wait until tomorrow. It's good. I love when we have too much to talk about. So we'll get into all of that. Let's get into some of your live comments. Sarah writes, congratulations, Candace, love and blessings. Sarah Jones writes, can't wait for the Savage Hood Rat Gang Gang. Congratulations to you and your family. Fabulous news. I missed you dearly. Yes. And by the way, now I'm like looking into the Babylon Bee, because there's just something weird there. There's just, now I've got a vibe. It's like, there's a lot happening behind the scenes. Like I said, I can give you that snippet because I don't have any NDAs that prevent me from telling you what happened, but they're suspicious. They're very suspicious. Maud Gone writes, can you research into the disappearance and death of Madeleine McCann? I have a theory on that, guys. I do indeed have a theory. I don't want to share it right now because it's only January. My husband's going to kill me. He's going to be like, Candace, don't get us into these things. He's not really going to kill me. He can't kill me. I'm pregnant again. I always say to him, be nice to your pregnant wife. Even when he's being nice, be nice to your pregnant wife. That's my thing that I say. Say, honey, be nice to your pregnant wife. Also, guys, I want to remind you about 7 Weeks Coffee. You guys know that I absolutely love them for a lot of reasons, mainly being that they're a pro-life coffee company that's on a mission to fund the pro-life movement, one cup of coffee at a time. So if you're wondering why they are called 7 Weeks Coffee, it's because at 7 weeks, a baby is the size of a coffee bean, which means my baby is a lot bigger at the moment. And it's the same time a heartbeat is clearly detected on an ultrasound. They donate 10% of every sale to support pregnancy care centers across the country. They've raised over $700 $150,000 for these centers, and they have saved thousands of lives. I can tell you about the coffee. You guys know that I am picky about what I consume. The coffee is mold-free, pesticide-free, shade-grown, and it's low acid, plus organically farmed, so it checks all of the boxes. And because coffee tastes better with a free gift, you can subscribe now and get a free engraved coffee spoon, plus 15% off on every order. Exclusively for my listeners, if you go to 7weekscoffee.com and use code Candace for up to 25% off when you subscribe. You'll get 25% off when you subscribe, pardon. Remember, your order will directly help support a network of over 1,000 pro-life organizations across the U.S. That is 7weekscoffee.com. And again, you can use code Candace at checkout. All right, guys, a couple more comments here. Scad Cooey writes, what's up with Elon retweeting anything and everything? The people he retweets to, that just makes me uncomfortable. He's constantly retweeting Ian Miles Chong. If you really want to look at somebody who people believe is a blackmailed operative, it's Ian Miles Chong. He had to flee his home country of Malaysia. He's bizarrely into American politics. He's not American. I don't even think he's ever been here. I don't even know if he's ever been to America. And he's constantly being promoted by so many neocons and Elon Musk. It makes entirely no sense. Alaska Dog Lady writes, ooh, Candace, I've had the user in my life. Took hindsight to realize that every time the phone rang, it wasn't to ask about me or how I was. It was because she needed something from me, not a real friend. Yes. And so that really is the story of Seth Dillon, the Babylon Bee, not a real friend. I told him, I said, we're enemies now. Like, we are not friends. Actually, I didn't say we're enemies. I said, we are not friends. Like, let's stop pretending. I hate the gaslighting of it all. It drives me insane. Like, oh, I'm just a little puppy. It's like that little scene from Lord of the Rings. That's like how I describe Seth Dillon. He's like, my ring, my ringer. And he's like, oh, I'm just a little puppy. I didn't do anything. You know, you guys know what I'm talking about. What's that guy's name? I know one of you guys has got it. Bilbo Baggins. When he's like, ah. And then he's like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so over that. I'm just so over the Freudian gaslighting, you guys. Anyways, by the way, my producers wrote a note. It is the Soffer family, the chairman and CEO of the Fontainebleau, who is suing Shmuley. Jeffrey Soffer, you are an American hero. I'm going to book the Fontainebleau Hotel. Stand up for yourself. Absurd to call a strong Jewish family and a very involved Jewish family anti-Semitic and Nazi collaborators. So you win Hero of the Day. All right, guys, that is it. Reminding you can support this show because we are still demonetized on YouTube by heading to candace.locals.com. And many of you guys have signed up, which is why we don't have to worry so much about all of these attacks when they happen. It's a new year, and we are going to be having some major announcements. It's going to be a very, very, very big show this year. I will be under attack nonstop, but I promise you, I have no intentions of biting my tongue. It's only going to get more aggressive because that's what little boys do when they're in their mother's womb. They just make them go, be aggressive. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow.